Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing
Basketball. Here's our hosts, Steve Collins. And Bill Flitter.
All right, Coach. Very excited. I get to see you another day of the week. So what Coach is slowly doing is trying to move a 1 week podcast that was once a week for a year to 2 days a week to 3 days a week. I'm going to send him the bill for my marriage counselor as he keeps adding days to the podcast. But we're doing a beta test, aren't we, Coach?
Yeah, that's right. We're doing a beta test on what you're about to listen to. This is a podcast for parents and parents with student athletes. We saw a need to help parents understand what it is and what their kids go through as student athletes. We are going to be covering everything from nutrition to mental health to how to raise a student athlete. A lot of research went into each of these episodes, and we're pretty excited to bring it to you. So have a listen. Give us your feedback.
Yeah.
Give me an email at coachbill@coachingyouthhoops.com. Tell me what you think. If we get enough great responses, we'll continue doing and producing this amazing research that research and podcast, and might even break it out into its separate podcast.
Yeah, and if you have any topic ideas, anything you as a parent, if you're a coach, probably listen to this, but if you're a parent or you have any ideas, let Coach Bill know, and we'll add it to our list. We have a long laundry list of things that we want to talk about. So, all right, I hope you enjoy the podcast, and let's head off to it.
Hey everyone, welcome to a deep dive into this idea of mental toughness. You know, especially for young athletes, we've got some really fascinating articles we're looking at today. And it's interesting because they go way beyond just, the old grit your teeth and push through it kind of advice.
Right.
It's more about how do you actually equip young people with a real mental toolkit?
Yeah, and it's funny because it's not about denying your feelings or just trying to be super tough all the time.
Right.
These articles really get into how mental toughness can actually help athletes, be more in tune with their emotions and actually perform better, even when they're under pressure.
It's like having that inner coach, in those pressure situations.
Yes.
To kind of guide you to those right choices, even when, your heart's racing. One of the things I thought was really interesting was how this actually impacts performance. Did you know that there's actually research that shows that mentally tough athletes, they can maintain their focus even when their heart rates are super high?
Yeah.
Talk about handling stress.
Exactly. And that's where we kind of go beyond that old school idea of what toughness is, right? It's not about being the loudest or the most aggressive person.
Right.
It's really about, like you said, having that inner drive. The thing that gets you up for that 6 your AM practice.
Yes.
Or, keeps you laser focused when you're up against a really tough opponent.
It's the difference between, I guess, having the potential and actually fulfilling it.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And it's not just about, those one-off moments where you pull something amazing out.
Right.
It's like the consistency of it.
Right.
Think about all these kids who are juggling really intense training schedules and the pressure to perform, and then they've got school on top of it.
Yeah.
And school, exactly. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And so, having that mental toughness can really help them kind of navigate all of that without burning out.
And that resilience piece of it too, I think, is huge, right? Like being able to bounce back from those setbacks.
Yes.
But these articles take it a step further, which I thought was interesting. It's not just about, getting back up after you get knocked down.
Right.
It's the how.
Exactly.
Like, how do you actually bounce back? And even more, how do you turn those challenges, those setbacks into like fuel?
Yeah, and that's where I think this framework of the 4 C's comes in. One of the articles talked about this, and I think it's so helpful to kind of break it down. So we're talking about control, commitment, challenge, and confidence.
The 4 C's. I like it. All right, I'm already okay. Break it down for me.
Okay.
Let's hear what these 4 C's are all about.
So the first one, control. It's that inner belief that you actually have influence over how you act and how you react, even when things are hard. Right. So it's like, you're in the driver's seat of your emotions.
You're not necessarily suppressing them.
Exactly.
You're just learning how to
manage.
Yeah, to steer them in a helpful direction. Okay, I like that.
Right.
So that's control. What about commitment?
Okay, commitment. This one is about actually setting those goals and then sticking to them.
Okay.
It means showing up consistently.
Right.
Even when you want to hit snooze.
Right. Which can be hard.
It's hard. But it's about honoring those promises that you make to yourself, and to your team, if you're on a team.
Yeah, it takes discipline.
Yeah.
That dedication piece. And it's about playing the long game, right? Not just the immediate gratification.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, I think that actually leads really well into the next C, which is challenge. And again, it's not about going out and, looking for a hard time, but it's about shifting how you see things. Right. So instead of just being like, oh, that's an obstacle, I can't get over it. It's like, okay, how can I use this as an opportunity to grow?
Okay. So it's like that classic growth mindset idea where you believe that your abilities aren't fixed and that you can actually get better through effort.
100%. It's about embracing those challenges, those moments that push you outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And you know what often comes with that?
Confidence.
Yeah, that unshakable belief in yourself that you can achieve what you set out to do, even when, you face those curveballs.
Yeah. And you know what? The thing about confidence, it's not like you're just born with it.
Right.
It's something that you build one step at a time. Every success, every challenge, it all kind of adds to it.
It's like that old saying, she believed she could, so she did.
But it's not all just positive self-talk and hoping for the best. These articles actually highlight some pretty incredible real-life examples of athletes that really embody this whole 4 C's idea.
Yes.
Take Bethany Hamilton, for example.
Oh, my gosh.
Talk about, turning tragedy into triumph.
Talk about resilience.
Yeah.
I mean, losing an arm in a shark attack.
At 13.
At 13.
Yeah.
That could derail anybody. And she was back on a surfboard, a month later?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
A year later, wins a national title.
I know. You read these stories and you're like, how?
I know.
That's incredible.
But it just shows you it's that control piece.
Right.
She couldn't control what happened to her, obviously, but she controlled how she responded.
Right.
And she chose to channel it, back into her passion. And I think that's such a powerful message for, all of us, because it reminds us that even when things happen that are outside of our control, we always have a choice in how we respond to it.
And sometimes those detours, I guess, or those things that we don't expect, they lead to some pretty amazing comebacks.
They do.
Speaking of comebacks, I mean, you can't talk about, overcoming the odds and achieving greatness without mentioning Michael Jordan.
Of course.
Right. Everyone knows him as this basketball legend.
Right, exactly.
But did you know he actually got cut from his high school basketball team?
Shut up. No.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
It's hard to imagine, right?
That's wild.
This guy who's the epitome of basketball success, he got cut.
Wow.
But instead of, letting that rejection define him, he used it as fuel.
Yeah.
He practiced even harder,
right.
Honed his skills. And 6 NBA championships later, I think it's safe to say, he proved his point.
Wow. That's amazing.
Right. But this actually brings up, I think, a really important question for those of us who are, raising young athletes or coaching them. How do we actually nurture this kind of mental toughness?
That's the $1 million question.
Because it's not like you can just download an app for that.
Right. You can't just be like, all right, be mentally tough.
Right.
Like it doesn't work that way. But it's about creating that environment.
Right.
Where those skills can be nurtured and can grow.
So it's less about tough love and more about support.
Yes.
Okay, I like that.
It's like, guiding them and empowering them.
Yes.
Helping them see those challenges, not as a threat.
Right.
But okay, this is an opportunity.
To learn. And to grow. And then when they encounter those setbacks, because we all do, it's about helping them reframe that, right? So it's not a failure. It's feedback. Exactly.
It's a chance to learn, to adapt.
To come back stronger. And to celebrate those victories along the way, no matter how small.
Yes.
Celebrate those small wins. Because those are what build up to those big wins, right? Every step forward, every personal best, every time they push themselves outside that comfort zone. Those are all wins. Acknowledge it. Celebrate it.
Absolutely. So we talked about the importance of, having that supportive environment, right? But what about actual tools?
Yes.
Are there specific techniques that parents and coaches can use?
For sure.
Because thankfully these articles do offer some really, really concrete strategies.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. One I thought was really great is this thing called the GROW model. It's for goal setting.
The GROW model.
Have you heard of this?
I love that it's a GROW model. That seems very appropriate.
I know.
But tell me more. What is this?
It's brilliant. Yeah. So it breaks it down, goal setting, right?
Yeah.
Into these 4 steps. So GROW, goal, reality, options, way forward.
Okay, I'm already on board just with the name.
I know, right?
But walk me through it. Okay, so goal. You start by actually defining what is it that you want to achieve.
Yeah. And I think the important piece here is making sure that it's something that the athlete, the kid, is actually excited about.
Okay. So starting with that clear vision, right?
Yes.
Of what success looks like.
Okay.
What's next?
So R, reality. So once you know what you want, it's time to kind of get real. Where are you at right now?
Right.
In relation to that goal, right? And it's about being honest, right? About your strengths for sure.
Right.
But also where do you maybe need to put in a little extra work?
That honest self-assessment, which can be tough.
So important though, right?
Yeah.
It can be tough, but super important.
Okay.
Okay, so then options. So we've got the goal. We know where we're at. Now it's time to brainstorm. What are the different paths? What are the different strategies that you could try? This is about encouraging some out-of-the-box thinking.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all.
No.
Okay. Not at all. It's what's going to work for you.
Okay.
Right. And then finally, way forward. This is where the rubber hits the road, right? We've got to take action. Yeah. So it's about making a plan. Okay, what are the actual steps?
Right.
What are you going to do today?
Right.
What are you going to do this week to kind of move towards that?
Yeah.
And thinking about okay, what obstacles might pop up and how can we kind of be ready for those?
So it's you're creating a roadmap, but it's a collaborative one.
Yes. I love that.
Right. It's not just here's what you're doing. It's let's figure this out together.
Exactly. Okay, GROW model. Love it.
Right. It's great.
Okay. So we're getting into the nitty-gritty here of some of these mental tools.
Yeah.
And another one that comes up, time and time again is this idea of visualization.
Yes.
And I feel like I've heard about this, read about this, for years.
It's so powerful.
But I'm always curious to learn more. What is it? Yeah. Well, so essentially it's about creating this picture in your mind.
Okay.
Of yourself overcoming these challenges.
Okay.
And achieving those goals.
Right.
So you literally close your eyes and you imagine if your goal is to win that race, you're seeing yourself crossing that finish line.
Okay.
Feeling what it feels like.
Oh, I see. So it's really getting all of the senses involved.
Yes.
Yes.
Because you know what?
Okay.
Neuroscience actually shows that when we vividly imagine doing something, our brains actually fire in the same way.
Wow.
As if we were actually doing the thing.
So it's almost like practice.
It is like practice for your brain.
Okay.
It's so cool.
That is cool.
So it's you're creating these pathways.
Wow.
So when you actually get there for real, Your body's like, oh yeah, we've done this before.
Like a mental rehearsal.
Exactly.
I love it. That's fascinating.
It's so cool. And it's such an easy tool.
It is easy. Oh, yeah, it's free.
And you can do it anywhere.
Right. Just close your eyes.
Exactly.
Okay. So we've got, that vision, that mental picture. What else can we do? Because, I'm thinking about like those pre-game jitters or,
right. The nerves.
Performance anxiety. Right. That's real. And I noticed the articles talked a little bit about like anxiety control and relaxation techniques.
Yeah, and this is where I think those tried and true practices of like, deep breathing, meditation, all of that, like that can be so powerful.
It's almost like you hit the pause button.
Yes.
On all the mental chatter and just bring yourself back to
like the present moment.
Yes.
And it's about regaining that sense of control when you feel like things are spinning.
Right. Like you're finding that calm amidst all the chaos.
Exactly. And, another thing that's really easy to forget sometimes, and it sounds so cheesy, but like positive self-talk.
Right.
Like those affirmations.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Right.
I've got this.
Mm-hmm.
Like it sounds cheesy.
Right.
But it, rewires our brains to actually start looking at what's possible.
Right.
Instead of focusing on all the like what ifs and all the doubts.
Yeah.
It's like giving yourself a pep talk, but like for real.
Right. And, I think as we're talking about all this, it really strikes me that these skills, right, like resilience, focus, this ability to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Those aren't just for athletes.
No, they're life skills.
These are life skills.
Yeah.
Like we're giving them this like toolkit to navigate, whatever challenges life throws at them, both on and off the field.
Yes. And, and those skills, so valuable. Like think about that resilience that helps an athlete push through, like when they hit the wall,
mm-hmm.
During a workout or in a game.
Right.
That's the same resilience that's going to help them, deal with the job loss or a tough breakup or, whatever it is.
Right. It's that inner voice that says like, okay, I got this. Like I can handle this.
Exactly. Even when it's hard.
Yes.
And that focus, right, that they develop to kind of like quiet all the noise and perform under pressure.
Right.
That translates into everything.
Yeah.
Being able to concentrate in school and their career, in their relationships, like it all matters.
Right. It's about equipping them to look at those challenges not as like, oh no, this is a threat, but as, okay, how can I grow from this?
Yeah.
And honestly, like, isn't that a lesson we can all kind of use a little more of these days?
100%. And I think it brings us back to those 4 C's.
Right.
Like control, that commitment, that challenge, and that confidence.
Yeah.
Like how do those show up in your life?
Right.
Like what would it look like if you had a little more control in your day-to-day?
Mm-hmm.
Or where could you kind of deepen that commitment?
Yeah.
To those things that you say are important to you.
I love that. It's such a good reminder that these principles of mental toughness, they apply to all of us.
They do.
Not just athletes, like anyone can benefit from really cultivating these skills.
It's the foundation, right? Yeah. Of living a more resilient life, a more fulfilling life, more kind of empowered life, no matter what your arena is.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great place to kind of leave it for today for everyone to think about.
Yes.
Until next time, just keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event. Up to 50% off, plus free home delivery. Limited time. Exclusively to Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.